Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day 8 of the Bandito Resale 25 Days of Resale Deals. And today we are going to talk about an item that I was honestly hesitant to talk about because they're getting harder to find for me and they're going up in price for buying, not necessarily for selling. And I don't want to have competition, but I'm going to share it with you anyway because that's just the kind of guy that I am. So today's topic is going to be VCRs and DVD VHS combo units. So first we're going to jump right into this with one of my favorites, and then we're going to finish this with another one of my favorites, but for a different reason. This first one that you can see here is a Panasonic PV9450 Blue Line VHS VCR player. As you can see, this one does include the remote, and this is something you want to look out for. If you see any of these Panasonic OmniVision VCRs with the blue line, they are definitely something to grab. They tend to hold pretty good value, and you can find the remotes online to go ahead and bundle them up. As you can see, this seller here did use eBay's new video feature in order to show it working, something also very smart to do with VCRs, as well as separate photos of the remote and making sure they take pictures of the back of the VCR as well. This one sold for $100 plus free shipping, so probably a huge profit on that. I will say at my local thrift stores at least, sometimes you can still find VCRs for $4.99, which is why I really got into selling these and enjoyed selling them. But now it is up to $25 depending on the thrift store that I'm at. For $25, a lot of them after shipping may not be worth picking up, so that's something to keep in mind. So moving on, we are going to stick with the Panasonic OmniVision. As you can see, this one was 9450. This one's a V4522, so a slightly different model. This one, they are throwing in a coax cable, some RCA cables, a blank tape, and the remote. A lot of people will make bundles like this to make these items sell faster, and then they will include a photo of the VCR actually playing something so you know that it works. This one sold for $72.21. It was on a 15% off sale plus $24 in shipping. Moving on to the next is one that may be a little bit harder to find, but usually when you do, they're going to be marked at a lower price, so there is a much higher potential of making money because to thrift stores, these just look incredibly outdated because frankly, they kind of are. This is a Zenith VR 1825 VCR, obviously a much older model, most likely from the 1980s, possibly even late 70s. No, it would probably be 1980s. This one sold for $70, but the shipping 120.05 because this seller was in the state of Washington. Moving on to the next model, we have a JVC HRS 4600U. I've actually sold this particular one myself because this is a Super VHS. That is something to look out for. Super VHS is technically a different format, and these will be worth a lot more money because they were not made for a very long time at all. A very, very limited amount of them still out there on the market, so they demand high dollar. This one sold for $148.98 plus $38.98 in shipping. Moving right along, we have another JVC, but this one is an HRS 7100U, and this one is also a Super VHS player. It's a little bit harder to notice, but you'll see that super specification mechanism. That's what means it is able to play those SVHS tapes, and you can see the little SVHS logo down there on the bottom left. This particular VCR sold for $149.99 plus $29.99 shipping. And as you notice with these Super VHSs, no remote needed to make it valuable. All right, we are going to move into a slightly different Panasonic VHS. This one says it is a Panasonic Super Drive. Uh, I do not believe this one plays Super VHS, but as you can see, it does play PAL VHS tapes and Super LP, Hi-Fi Stereo, 25 times Jet Search, whatever all that means. All I know is if you see it, grab it because this one sold for $110 plus $60 shipping. This one was actually shipped internationally out of Ukraine. All right, so moving on to something a little bit newer, and these you're probably going to have to pay up for a little bit at your local thrift stores. and that is this LG RC897T DVD VCR combo player and VHS2 DVD recorder. As you can see on the DVD player on this unit, you see that RW logo. That means rewritable. Means you can record from your old VHS tapes directly to a DVD. A few years ago, a lot of people were buying these to turn their own home movies into DVDs, and a lot of people still do that because it takes a step away of needing an adapter or something to move into your computer. You can just burn it to that rewritable CD and then download it to your computer off of that to make digital files from your old VHS tapes as well. This one sold for $149.95 plus $19.95 shipping. Again, with these higher end VHS to DVD recorders, the remote isn't necessary for high value, but some of them do require the remote to actually be able to use them the way that you want to. So it's definitely worth checking to see if the remote's available on eBay and including that in a bundle if you are able to. Moving on, we have this Sony SLV N51 VCR. This one is fully tested but does not include the remote. You can see this is a very basic unit, and this is one that I actually come across at thrift stores quite often. I've probably sold a good 20 to 30 of these in the last few years, so definitely something to keep an eye out for. I've also noticed that the Sony ones tend to work even in used condition. I haven't come across many that have issues with, tapes coming out and tape pulling or anything like that. This one sold a little less, $50 plus $19.30 shipping. But if you have a thrift store like mine where they're pricing these for $5 to $10, that's still a $40 profit. All right, moving on to the next is another Sony VCR. This is the SLV 788HF. This one works great with no remote yet again. Slightly higher end model from what I can tell. It just looks a little beefier, for lack of a better term, and does have that quick mechanism. You can see it's got the turn dial here to fast forward and rewind. And yeah, not much else to say about it other than if you see one of these out in the wild, this one sold for $73 on an auction. I generally do not recommend auctioning off VCRs because people that are looking for them will just do the buy it now. Whereas an auction, you may not get what you want out of that item. This one probably could have sold for closer to 100 on buy it now. 10.99 economy shipping. That is only showing that low because I am relatively close to Champaign, Illinois, here in Missouri. But again, good money. If they paid $5, $10 for that VCR, huge profit. All right, and finally is my other favorite VCR to sell, but like I said, this is for a different reason than the Panasonic Blue Line models. And the reason is this one's worth a lot less money, but it is incredibly light and easy to ship. This one sold for $44.99 plus $16.30 shipping, but I want to show you what to look out for. And to do that, I'm going to use this second picture, and that is these gray and silver Emerson VCRs that have this kind of weird shape where part of the back just sticks out like that. They are very, very, very light and small, and because of that, they're easy to ship and do go for good money. This one did have the remote. I don't usually find that with them. I would say without the remote, it sells for about $35, but because these are so light, a lot of thrift stores know that they're a lower end model and will put them out for that $4.99 price tag. All right, so that's all I've got today for you on day 8 of the 25 days of resale deals here on the Bandito Resale channel. If you enjoy videos like that, hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next.